Pakistan cricket at its best. 1 minute down, next minute up.
Hi folks, thanks very much for joining me once again. Saj Sadek here from PakPassion website, bringing you another exclusive interview. I'm delighted to have this guest today. He's somebody I've known for a long time. We've sat in many press boxes together and basically been tearing our hair out when I had hair, watching Pakistan and looking at each other in disbelief at some of the, let's just say, less than brilliant performances we've seen over the years from Pakistan in England. He's a cricket writer of repute. He's written for Wisden and many other outlets over the years. And as I say, I'm delighted to be joined by Amer Malik. Amer, hope you're doing well.
I'm very well, Sage. How are you, brother?
Yeah, all good, thank you, Amer. Amer, let's talk a little bit about Pakistan, New Zealand, as painful as it is. Really disappointing performance, wasn't it? And
Totally.
I mean, I think those of us who've been watching Pakistan in recent times probably weren't expecting a great performance, but even by our expectations, our low expectations, it was still a disaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's one word. That's one way of putting it. I mean, like you said, we've watched a lot of cricket over the years. We've seen Pakistan's high and lows. Yesterday was just really another low. It's you know, you don't mind losing. No one minds losing in a cricket match, irrespective of tournament, irrespective of whatever series you're playing. It's the way you lose that really hurts, and it hurts the Pakistan fans. Rightly so. And I don't endorse abusive behaviour. I never do. That's not what anyone should stand for. But they've got to that level that where they're hurling abuse towards the guys, and that in itself is wrong. But these guys are passionate. These people are passionate. The cricket is one of the only things in Pakistan that is a form of escapism from the rest of what is going on in the country, or what goes on in the country. I don't know much about the politics, but cricket is the go-to thing. But the problem is when you start to show signs of weakness in that as well, it doesn't leave the people with much hope. And you're hosting a major tournament after 29 years. 1996 was the last co-hosted tournament, ICC event, and there's a worry that Pakistan will unfortunately come out of this tournament within the space of a test match.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, what I was going to say to you was that the stadiums, fine stadiums, all three of them now, upgraded. There was all the hype about, having the tournament in Pakistan predominantly, which it is, apart from obviously India's matches that are in the UAE. So everything was all set up for a fantastic tournament for Pakistan. But unfortunately, the players on the pitch, they just seem to succumb to the pressure every tournament, don't they?
Again, you've analysed it so well. Every tournament, I think yesterday, the lack of intent, especially when it came to batting, especially the first, 3 or 4 batsmen. You think, hang on a second, what are you playing, a test match? It's it's 50 over game. I mean, I feel that Pakistan cricket hasn't evolved with cricket itself. Cricket has been evolving, and it always is, and always will be. There's innovation. I've not seen any innovation in regards to the way they play, the way they have basically conduct themselves on the field. I'm pretty sure, and I know that the coaches give them plans to execute, but it's you can't have the coaches going out there and executing them for you. At the end of the day, it's for you to go out there and execute those plans. I mean, the lack of game awareness I found with some batters yesterday was actually mind-numbing. It really was.
I think what's happening at the moment is that the minute you criticise any of the Pakistani cricketers, you get a load of abuse, especially on social media. You've seen it, I've seen it as well. And people think that, your tweets are paid, or you're favoriting other players, or you're against these players. But I think sometimes the reality is that people are forgetting that we are offering constructive criticism based on stats, based on our judgment. And it's almost these days like you're not allowed to criticise some cricketers, isn't it?
That's exactly the case. I mean, even today, I tweeted, my preference who they should have had, who should have been fuckers replaced. That's my view, my own opinion. I was actually racially abused for it by at least two people, and these are two Pakistani people who have no idea of what they were saying. And I thought, if you guys are the cricket fans that Pakistan deserve, then you're totally wrong because I don't think any side would want fans who are that vulgar or vile if you can't express an opinion. And like you said, we never resort to abusing the players or any of the people associated with the teams. It's not what you do. For us, I'm not saying I'm a brilliant analyst, far from it. But any criticism of someone's performance has to be constructive. You can't just go in and start abusing people. And I tend to find that we've unfortunately left a lot. Uh, I'd say our fans sometimes don't have a way of expressing that criticism, and they resort to personal abuse, and which is totally wrong. I won't endorse or condone in any way.
I think there's too many players who are on pedestals, and it's almost like they're untouchable for criticism. And I think that's a danger
Yeah,
because we've seen player power in the past, haven't we, in Pakistan cricket over the
yeah,
generations. But one thing I will say about those guys, when they were, powerful personalities in Pakistan cricket, like the likes of Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus, they were
yeah,
performing, they were world beaters. These days, we seem to
absolutely.
have powerful individuals in Pakistan cricket who don't really perform, yet they still have that power and that influence in Pakistan cricket, it seems.
I think, Saj, a lot of it's to do with uh, how they handle their PR. I tend to think a lot of their focus seems to be on what's going on outside of the ground rather than what's going on inside of the ground. Um, well, and again, one of the funny things is you mentioned, as a fan, obviously I have players I like. I think, yeah, as a fan, I've got loads of favorite players. I mean, but you mentioned, on social media, you mention a name of a player, you're accused of favoritism, you're accused of being a paid journalist. I wish I was a paid journalist. But there's no constructive response. There's no debatable response. Unfortunately, the players, a lot of them have themselves to blame. The way I won't say conduct themselves, but I think a lot of their PR agencies need to read the room at times, and I don't think they do. Uh, I, I, for me, the sole focus should be on the way they play, the way to improve, because there is room for a lot of improvement. I mean, results in the last 2 to 3 years have just shown that you've lost to the USA in the last year. That's never happened to any side, and I can't imagine. It's not going to get any lower than that. But this is Pakistan. They continue to surprise us.
I think there were many worrying aspects of that performance against New Zealand. And without going into all of them, for me, the most worrying aspect was Babar Azam's batting. I mean, what was he actually thinking? The run rate was climbing. There was dot ball after dot ball. There seemed to be
Mm,
no intent or urgency at all from him. And even the commentators, seasoned commentators like Ian Bishop and
mm.
Matthew Hayden, Ian Smith, those were wondering what is going on. What did you make of his innings?
I mean, I'm not going to defend anyone, but from what there's two school of thought in my opinion. One, he had no game awareness. That could be one of the reasons. The other reason was that he wanted to act as an anchor, because when you had the thing is though, when you've got people like Saud opening with you, and Rizwan, I mean, they all play the role of an anchor. So
I was
surely
just
it
going to
fell
say,
upon
how
one
many
of them.
anchors do you want? We seem to have
Yeah,
11
exactly.
anchors with a bat.
Absolutely. I mean, surely you could have used your initiative and thought, okay, I've got an anchor with me. It's time for me to accumulate. He did that fucker batting with him, who, let's be all honest, couldn't run. So there's probably a chance of missing, but we can't just blame it all on that. And I'm not going to. Uh, Barbara has had enough experience to realise a game situation. The guy's a talented player. Irrespective of what people will say about him and this and that. As a cricketer, he's a brilliant cricketer. There's no doubt about that. You can't dispute that. That doesn't make me a fan or a fanboy. I'm just expressing an opinion. People can translate it wherever the way they like. But as a cricketer, he should realise the situations he and the team are in and play accordingly. And I just think, why are you not doing that? Pakistan is still playing cricket as if it's 1990, not 2025, and that's something they seriously need to move. And one of the other things I would say is I think they're not. I think they're not afraid to be dropped because they know there's no one else coming in to replace them. There's that fact as well.
Now they've lost Babar Azam, which means that's one of their main batters out the tournament. I mean, the worrying thing is that there's almost that stubbornness in this Pakistan team where I'm going to play this way. It doesn't matter what happens. And I know I tweeted about the priorities for Pakistani players. To me, you might disagree or, you might agree, Amer. To me, it seems like it's personal gains, your own average, your own ranking, ahead of what the team's requirements are.
I agree. I do agree. And I think this is where people would probably say, oh no, they're not. Optics tell a different story. Optics don't, and it's nothing positive, unfortunately. When you've got people like Mickey on social media, showing where's the intent. You've got reputable people. I mean, like you said, the commentators. What's going on? It defies logic, Saj, and this is up to these guys on the pitch. I know for a fact these guys are given plans to execute, and if they're not, that's down on them. But if you're a part of a team, then it's a collective failure. I mean, I would go back to the bowling as well. I mean, I'd like again, there's no effectiveness in our pace bowling. You've got part-time spin bowlers trying to complete 30 overs for you. Worrying thing for me, Shaheen is your opening bowler. He's not taking wickets. He's he blows hot and cold. He is bowling early, mid 80s, early 80s. For my opening bowler, that's not what I expect. If I was his captain, I want someone who can penetrate, take wickets, put the fear of God into the batsman, and I need someone on the other end to work with my bowlers. I think they're giving away too many runs in the last 10 overs as well. If you look at the last 3 or 4 games, I think they've given away in excess of 100 runs in each inning.
I mean, the last 8 overs
last
8 overs against New Zealand, 105 for 1, which is ludicrous. Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks very much, Amer. Really appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Saj. My pleasure.
Thank you.